Hi there. I just wanted to give some quick instructions here on the Kansas Agriculture Analysis assignment. So, learning intention on this one, we're learning about crop production so we can understand where specific crops come from and the impact they have on economic growth and providing products we use. Again, just a main focus on agriculture here. And this one in particular is going to focus on agriculture statewide, more of a local focus. Success criteria: I'll be successful when I can determine the uses of different crops grown in Kansas, and I can analyze the impact Kansas agriculture has on products used in the United States and other parts of the world. So, Kansas has many crops that it grows for agricultural purposes. Fill out the chart below to compare some of the crops of Kansas. The Kansas Crops PDF provides information on each of the crops listed. So again, that's this separate PDF here entitled Kansas Crops, and you won't have to read the whole thing top to bottom. You can kind of, scroll to a particular crop, which again, I'll try to give page numbers in the PDF so you know what you're looking for here, and that way you can kind of focus on those individual crops when you see the heading, and even then you don't have to read the whole section. You mostly want to focus on, for example here, wheat uses is a good way to kind of look for some of the uses of a particular crop. Or you can look at like these analyses down here where it shows like a pie chart and it talks about the uses. That's also helpful. So look at the uses section. And we want two uses for each crop, one food use and one non-food use. Make sure that the food-related use is not just eating the crop directly. So for example, with corn, I'm not interested in learning about, people eat corn on the cob, we know that. But I'd like to know a food product made from corn, processing it into something else. You can also talk about uses besides those mentioned in the PDF. Again, if you want to look up something else or if you already know something else, that's fine. Note that many of these crops are fed to livestock, meaning they help feed animals like cows, pigs, and chickens, which we process into meat food products, which can count as a food-related use for the crop. When you finish filling out the chart, answer the reflection questions below it. So for example, here's wheat again, and I mentioned that it's on pages 2 to 6 of the PDF. And then I ask for what's one food-related use of this crop, either food products we consume or feed for livestock. Again, if I'm looking here under the wheat uses, I can tell 10% of it is used for livestock feed. I could put that for the food-related use if I want. I could also look here at wheat uses and look at some of the products made from it. So they talk about it being a cereal grain. They talk about bread being made with wheat. Again, that probably didn't surprise most of you. So again, if you find a particular product, that totally works for a situation like that. And then I want to know what's one non-food related use of this crop. Quite a few of them in the uses section will talk about other ways that you can use these. Now again, sometimes that's mentioned here in the pie chart. I don't see one in particular for this one, but I will say here in the text it mentions here wheat is used for industrial products such as adhesives, packaging materials, paper, construction materials, and a few other non-food uses. So again, you can select one of those to put into that section. So most of these crops will ask for both a food and non-food related use. Sometimes the PDF won't list one, like here for sunflowers. So again, I just wrote a note in. You don't have to fill in anything on that part. And then down here at the bottom, we've got some reflection questions. 13, what was one thing that surprised you about the impact of Kansas agriculture on food supplies? Maybe something you didn't know before as far as the type of food that is supplied by Kansas agriculture. What is one thing that surprised you about the impact of Kansas agriculture on non-food products? Again, maybe something that you didn't know was made based on crops, like again, you maybe didn't know it was already plant-based, or just something that surprised you in general. And then 15, crops that farmers grow have a large impact overall on Kansas's economy. How do you think this affects elected officials and the types of laws and government actions they pass? Would they try to help farmers out or limit what they can do? Again, just think about, if you are looking at the perspective of people who are running for some kind of office, governor or something like that, and, how do you think they would treat farmers, thinking about their impact on Kansas's overall economy? So that's it as far as this assignment goes. Again, I think it's pretty straightforward. Again, look over the PDF to try and figure out the uses. Again, you don't have to read it top to bottom, but it should be pretty easy to find the uses that you're looking for.